The idea that parents aren't involved in public schools and have no say, I mean, I just don't know where it's coming from. I think it's kind of a made up crisis, to be honest with you.
Hi everyone, Michael Goff here. Welcome to Chronicles of Clarity. We're going to jump right into a video made up of a panel of 4 individuals talking about the crisis in the classroom. From my understanding, this is from a local ABC News affiliate somewhere in Michigan, and they're discussing what is the parental role, specifically in this portion of the video, of sexual teachings, if you will. That would be LGBTQ or gender ideology.
We talk about parents pulling themselves out of kids out of schools, Angela. But one of the things that we alluded to in coming back is the content, the sexual content, the sexual movement with children, and how much of a role should parents play?
Parents should be in the driver's seat, full stop. They deserve absolute transparency into what their children are learning. And that's why the pandemic was such a pivotal moment in the school choice movement. It lit a fire under a movement that was already in progress, because remote learning was always remote, was not always learning. And when parents realized what their kids were not being taught, reading, writing, arithmetic, and what they were being taught, which is, in many cases, a lot of CRT, a lot of gender ideology, you see these schools that are driving an agenda, and parents are standing up and saying no. The government has no right to force parents to send their children to a school that teaches them things that run contrary to their values, and in many cases contrary to basic facts. Forcing parents to do this is absolutely wrong.
Well, Corey, is this decline in public school enrollment exclusive to the post-pandemic? And what do you think has contributed to families exploring these other options?
Parents have woken up. They saw what was going on in the classroom. They don't want to send their kids to institutions for 13 years where they feel like they're being indoctrinated in ways that don't align with their values. They don't want schools teaching their kids to hate them. I mean, that's pretty basic. Vodi Bakum said it best.
Hate them?
To dislike them and their way of life. We can disagree about the word that we use, but Vodi Bakum said it best. We cannot continue to send our children to Caesar for their education and be surprised when they come home as Romans. So,
Stacey, we've seen parents across this country, especially your home state of Texas, take issue with content in their children's schools having to do with sexual orientation and gender identity. Should parents, from your experience and where you sit in the educational hierarchy, be made aware if their child's teacher intend to discuss these topics?
Sure, I think parents should know what their students are learning or what their children are learning. However, I don't think that gives rise to allowing us to manipulate what has happened in our country, manipulate the truth, and cherry pick what we're going to teach students.
Did you notice that? It's cherry picking what we're going to teach students. So yes, parents should be involved, but not to the degree where they can actually decide for themselves and their kids, do they actually want them to know about LGBTQ issues or gender ideology or anything? That's the current that's going under her statement here, no doubt.
Dr. Cohen, what would you add or take away from what you're hearing?
Listen, I don't know who has kids on this panel, who's actually a parent, but I mean, I have 5 children in public schools right now, and the idea that parents aren't involved. I mean, as soon as we're done with this conversation, I'm taking my sport coat off. I'm going to already meet first week of class with my kids' teachers and help out with football practice after school. Like, parent-teacher conferences are all over the place. You can walk in. The idea that parents aren't involved in public schools and have no say, I mean, I just don't know where it's coming from. I think it's kind of a made-up crisis, to be honest with you. I think we get really dangerous when we talk about what parents of any sort want, other than outside of our own home.
I got to tell you this, Dr. Cohen. I felt the temperature rise in the studio when you made it out to be a made-up crisis.
Hold up. A made-up crisis? A made-up crisis. He thinks parental rights in America is a made-up crisis. This is very typical of someone who is a professor at a college or university. You know why? It's because the colleges and universities are so indoctrinated with this ideology that they don't even see it when it's running amok in their local schools. But here at Chronicles of Clarity, we're here to clarify. So the question that he raises, is it a hoax? Is it a scam? Is it made up? Well, you can decide, but check out these clips that I'm getting ready to show you that happened, one last week and another that happened today.
On this issue, we've heard from many parents who are extremely upset and worried and concerned about what the school district might be hiding from them. I mean, we alert parents for everything from a child needs an aspirin during the day to signing a permission slip to watch a movie or read a book in class. So this is a very far reach for a lot of parents.
And the fact that we're actually even having this discussion concerns everyone. And the parents and the children do have a right to know, and that's the backbone of education in America, in our country.
That's parents sounding off, as now a New Jersey judge temporarily blocking 3 school districts from enforcing a requirement to notify parents if their child changes gender identity at school.
Did you hear that? If your child at schools decides that he wants to be a girl, the courts have ruled that the parents have no say in this. This is utterly unbelievable. They cannot give a prescription to your child at school without your consent. They cannot give them an aspirin that doesn't require a prescription unless they have your consent. In order to take them off the property, they need you to sign a waiver that says they can go on a field trip. This is utterly insane. Check out this court ruling. So court ruled yesterday, it's not a fundamental right, says a Maryland court, because they struck down parents' rights to request to opt out of certain LGBT curriculum. So what happened was that you had a Maryland school district, I believe it was in Maryland, in May. They rescinded their policy that said, they used to have a policy that said that if you wanted to opt your child out of certain teachings, you could. And then the district sent out an email that said you cannot do that anymore. So then some parents sued, and this is the court's ruling, that Montgomery County Public Schools do not have to listen to parents, and they can force, that's what's happening, force your kids to sit through a class and be indoctrinated. And this professor at Michigan State has the audacity to say that this is made up. Simply unbelievable. But would we expect less from those who peddle tyrannical candies from the white kidnapping van of truth? I don't expect less. So if you are in the public school system, if you have kids there, or even if you don't, please get involved. Parental rights are under attack. I personally have an experience, I won't get into it here, where I was removed from a board because I stood against gender ideology. This ought not to happen. We should, in America, give parents back their fundamental rights. The state does not dictate to parents. The parents dictate to the state because they're our kids. They're not theirs. They want you to think that this is all made up. Well, no, Mr. Professor from Michigan State University, it's not. And it's only going to get worse if you, as a citizen in this United States, do not stand up against all these policies that are crafted to indoctrinate our kids and have them believe things which are not true. We can make the change that we need to make if we get involved. Thanks for watching here at Chronicles of Clarity. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps us out tremendously. I would very much appreciate it. And please comment below. Do you think parental rights are under siege here in America? Do you believe the government is overreaching and what they're allowing parents to do for their kids? comment below. Also, check out this video where Matt Walsh and Dawkins take on a trans EMT. I think you'll find that conversation also very fascinating.